Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. Today I'm going to be making 3 different wreaths using this pumpkin wreath form from the Dollar Tree. We all have seen it. This thing is ginormous and I'm going to be doing all my pumpkins without using deco mesh. We're going to be using some fun elements to make these pumpkin wreaths, so let's get started. For this wreath, I'm going to be using this very soft, gorgeous, and dark orange yarn. And the first thing I'm going to do is just weave that first bottom row and zip tie the beginning of my yarn to the second row in the pumpkin. And of course, don't forget to turn the zip tie ending towards the back of the wreath. At this point, I'm going to undo my whole roll of yarn, and starting from the back, I'm going to section it off. And I usually do 2 to 3 sections. I make big loops, bring them together with a little wire, and then I start weaving my pumpkin. As far as the weaving, all I'm doing is I'm going in and out, and on the sides of the pumpkin, I'm going to go around and go towards the opposite side. So then you're going to go up, down, go around, down, up, and it's pretty much this repetitive process going around and around until you get to the top. There's a lot of yarn in the video and it's hard to see what I'm doing, so I just wanted to let you know that I work from the back, meaning I take my last bundle from the end of the yarn and then I weave that one, then I take my next bundle, I weave that one, and then the remaining yarn, and then I just continue going in and out, and it's a quick way of making these gorgeous pumpkin wreaths. When I'm done weaving, I'm going to take another piece of zip tie and zip tie the ending to the top of the wreath form. To hang the pumpkin, I'm using a piece of jute cord and I'm tying it to both sides of the pumpkin stem. For the florals, I'm going to use 2 types of willows, a very glam one and the yellow one. Then I'm going to use 2 bushels of the maple leaves and 2 bushels of mini pomegranate. The willow stems come with 5 branches, and I want 2 of each on one side and 2 of each on the other side, so you should have one little willow branch left over from each. Over the willow branches, I'm putting my pomegranates and then my maple leaves. For my florals to have a natural and beautiful look, I'm going to work in my pomegranates towards the front a little bit and work them in with the maple leaves. And then I'm also going to open up my florals on both sides towards the left and the right, so it gives it a bit of a fuller look. Now I'm bringing both floral bundles together, and you can keep them as far away or as close together as you would like. And for a good secure hold, I'm going to use a zip tie and tie them in place. Now it's time to make one of the easiest bows you can ever make, and it's called a messy bow. All you have to do is cut pieces of ribbon, and what I'm doing here is I'm taking any ribbon I have on hand. Most of this is going to be 2.5 inches, and the last ribbon on top is going to be 1.5 inches. But basically what I did here is I just measured how long I want my little ribbon strips to be, and I decided 9 inches would look the best, and I'm just cutting 2 pieces of each ribbon. This is one of those really cool bows where if you have ribbon pieces left over, this is the bow to use it on. After cutting all my ribbon pieces that I wanted, I just went on both sides of my ribbon and cut dovetails. Now I'm taking my ribbon, crisscrossing the pieces and layering them on. I'm going to bring my bow together with a little floral wire, and with that wire, I'm going to attach it to the center of my floral bundle. Now I'm taking a zip tie, wrapping it around the center of the bow and attaching it straight to the top and side of my wreath. For the final touch, I'm going to grab some of those yellow berries and I'm going to hot glue to the center of my bow. To start this wreath, I'm going to use some white fabric from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut it to size, wrap it around the pumpkin, and hot glue it to the back of the pumpkin. Any excess fabric on the back, I'm going to cut off, leaving about 1/2 inch on the edges. Now I'm going to grab a Dollar Tree hula hoop skirt. You heard me right. We're using a hula hoop skirt for this wreath. And all I'm doing is I'm taking the top of the hula hoop skirt and I'm hot gluing it to the bottom back of the pumpkin. Then I'm going to flip the pumpkin over and start hot gluing that skirt to the front of the pumpkin. I'm going to do a little bit of hot glue here and there, mostly focusing on bringing my skirt up and over the pumpkin and hot gluing it to the back. Any excess skirt I'm going to cut off because we're going to need some in case you need to cover an area here or there, and also to the side of the pumpkin where there was not enough skirt. Grabbing some of that skirt that I saved from before, I'm going to hot glue it to the side of the pumpkin. To take care of the pumpkin stem, I'm just using some jute cord, slowly wrapping it around the stem and hot gluing it in place. Grabbing another piece of jute cord, I'm hot gluing it to the top of the wreath so we have something to hang our wreath with. For the bow, I'm grabbing this gorgeous ribbon that I got on clearance for $1.99. I didn't even measure. I made a long tail and then a simple bow, brought it together with a little clip. Then I'm grabbing this Dollar Tree burlap ribbon that's like a teal color, making another simple bow and putting it on top of our larger bow. Then I'm bringing both bows together with a little floral wire and tying it in the back. Next, I'm going to grab another piece of that ribbon, and I usually grab whatever ribbon is in the back. And all I did here is fold it in three, wrapped it around the center, and hot glued it in the back. Using the floral wire I already have attached on my bow, I'm going to poke the wire through the fabric. It's going to go through really easily. And for a stronger hold, I'm going to make sure one wire goes on one side of that middle row, and the other side is going to go on the other side of that wire row. In the back, I'm going to tie it together and your bow is all set. To bring a little bit more nature into this pumpkin, I'm grabbing two fall picks from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to attach more floral wire to it, wrap it around areas of the pick where I know it's going to keep it securely in place. I'm going to hide the floral pick behind my bow, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with the bow. I'm taking the floral wire and I'm going to poke it through the fabric in two different spots so it has a nice area to grab, and then tie it in the back. Now for bow tails. I made the tails long to make these ribbon tails because I thought it would look so pretty. So all I'm doing here is folding where I want the ribbon to actually have that little wave. Pinch at both sides, and you're going to move that pinched edge to the back of your ribbon, making that beautiful wave. At the end of the day, this wreath turned out very elegant and modern. To start this pumpkin, I'm going to cover the stem in a piece of felt. I just traced a piece about ½ inch larger than the actual stem and then wrapped it and hot glued it towards the back of the pumpkin wreath. To cover the back of the stem, I cut a piece of felt to size and hot glued it to the back of the stem. Now I'm grabbing a ½ inch grosgrain ribbon and I'm going to hot glue it and wrap it around the outside of the pumpkin wreath form. The reason I'm doing this is so we have a nice clean edge and the yellow will match the leaves that we're going to be using. Next, I'm taking a 5/8 inch grosgrain ribbon and I'm going to hot glue it to the back of the metal wire pieces that are standing up on the pumpkin wreath, and this is going to give us a nice base to hot glue our leaves. I'm going to be using maple leaves that come on a bushel from the Dollar Tree, but you can also use the ones that come in a pack. It doesn't matter. These are just a little larger and I felt like they were so pretty. As you can see, I'm working from top to bottom, overlaying the maple leaves one on top of the other as I'm going down. And I'm going to do this to all the pumpkin wires that are standing up, not the ones that are actually the outside frame. I left the base of the pumpkin alone, including the sides. That is why we had to cover that in the yellow ribbon. To decorate the pumpkin, I'm going to start with a little green, and I decided to use this 3½ inch ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I didn't really measure it, I just wanted a long strip, so I would approximate it at about 20 inches, and I did two strips One is enough. I was thinking of doing something else. And then I'm going to grab some Dollar Tree buffalo check ribbon and I'm going to make loops that are 5 inches in length, which means those pieces of loops are 10 inches. As you can see, I used up a piece of ribbon I already had on hand, and then I'm proceeding with one that's full. This bow is a great way to use up ribbon pieces that you have on hand, because if you cut the tails short, you can get away with hiding them within the bow. To bring the bow together, I'm going to grab a zip tie to make sure that it's nice and tight and clip off the excess. To attach my bow to the pumpkin, I'm grabbing some floral wire, wrapping it around the center of my bow, and then attaching it to the 2 center rows of my pumpkin. In the back, I'm just tying it in place and my bow is secure. As you can see, I decided to do ribbon tails, and I did cut the tails on the ends of the green ribbon. And to make our banner tail, all I'm doing is folding my ribbon in half towards the top, pinching at the sides and bringing it back. The green and the buffalo check stands out so nicely against those orange and yellow leaves.
Thank you so much for joining me today. In the comments below, let me know which pumpkin was your favorite. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please hit on that circle right there. And then don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit the little bell to be notified when my next video comes out. For now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye, my sweet friends. Mwah.